Chapter 5, Nate the First Task. Hannah Raines sat at the breakfast table watching her son Nate scroll through his Market Link app. He had gotten his first task notification early that morning. She had seen it flash across his screen when he unlocked it. Task assigned, retrieve item from Verisphere Plaza. Simple. Straightforward. And yet something about it unsettled her. "Are you excited?" she asked, keeping her voice light. Nate barely glanced up. "Yeah, I guess." Across from them, David Raines, her husband, sipped his coffee, looking more amused than anything. "It's just a pickup, Han," he said, stretching back in his chair. "The Market Link app tells him what to do, he does it, and he's done." Hannah forced a small smile. "Right. Simple." That was what Mrs. Everett had told them. But something about the way she said it, the way she always phrased things, made Hannah feel like there was something she was missing. She had skimmed through the details herself. Task: pickup package from shop 12A. Location: Verisphere Plaza, Central Market Row. Deadline: today 6 p.m. Reward: item code LZ1ADD. She had read it twice, but even then she wasn't sure why it felt off. Nate didn't seem bothered, though. He finished his toast, swiped his Market Link off the table, and pushed back from his chair. "I'll be back soon," he said. Hannah hesitated. "I'll come with you." Nate frowned. "You don't have to." "I know," she said, standing, "but I want to." Verisphere Plaza was always active, never chaotic, never rushed, just moving. People browsed sleek modern storefronts, their Market Link devices guiding them. Each shop looked normal. Bright signs, window displays, shelves stocked with identical, neatly packaged products. But there were no clerks, no attendants, only cameras, watching. Every transaction was automated, tracked through AI. The system knew who you were, what you picked up, and how it would shape your next task. That was how it worked. But those there long enough knew the market provided, but it never gave without taking something in return. Nate stopped in front of shop 112A. Hannah followed him inside. A synthetic voice greeted them from overhead. "Welcome, Nate Raines." Nate barely reacted. He walked to the back of the store where a shelf lit up. A sealed, nondescript package sat there, waiting for him. He picked it up. His Market Link app chimed. Task completed. Hannah exhaled. That was it? But then she saw Nate hesitate. His gaze drifted to the next shelf over, a row of neatly packaged protein bars. He reached out and grabbed one. The moment his fingers closed around the wrapper, his Market Link app buzzed again. A new notification. Nate frowned, glancing at his screen. Item cost 1 level 1 task. Hannah grabbed his wrist before he could put the bar in his pocket. "What did it say?" Nate blinked. Just a level 1 task for this protein bar." Hannah's pulse quickened. "For what?" Nate turned the bar over in his hand. "A protein bar." He shrugged, stuffing the protein bar into his jacket pocket. "Guess I'll do it later," he said, like it was nothing. Like this was already normal. As they exited the shop, a familiar voice cut in. "Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Raines." Hannah turned. Mrs. Everett, perfect posture, impeccable smile, appearing just when she was needed. She folded her hands in front of her. "It's natural for tasks to progress," she said smoothly. "Verisphere encourages productivity. Your son is simply integrating into the system." Hannah swallowed, fingers tightening around her phone. "But I thought we were supposed to monitor his assignments." Mrs. Everett nodded. "Of course his first, but I would say he has demonstrated he is quite capable." She smiled at Nate. "And I'd say he's ready to handle tasks all by himself." Hannah glanced at her son. He didn't seem bothered at all. If anything, he looked pleased. Her pulse quickened. "Is there a problem, Mrs. Raines?" Hannah opened her mouth, then hesitated. Mrs. Everett's gaze was polite, patient, but something about it told her, press too hard and she'd regret it, so she forced a smile instead. No problem." Mrs. Everett's smile didn't waver. "Wonderful." She gave Nate an approving nod. "I'll check in again soon." And then, just like that, she was gone. Hannah let out a slow breath. Nate looked at her. "What?" he asked, adjusting the package under his arm. Hannah shook her head. "Nothing." But it wasn't nothing, because her son had just taken his first step into the system, and she wasn't sure how to pull him back out. That evening, Hannah Raines sat at the kitchen table, arms crossed, as she watched David rinse dishes at the sink. She had been holding in her frustration ever since they got back from the plaza. Now, she couldn't anymore. "He already got a second task," she said finally. David glanced over his shoulder, unconcerned. Yeah? Hannah exhaled sharply. That's not normal, David. It was supposed to be one, a simple pickup. But the second he took something besides the package, the system gave him a task. David set a plate on the drying rack. Well, that's how it works. Hannah shook her head. How it works? David sighed, drying his hands. You know the system, Han. You take what's free, you're fine. You take more, you owe something. That's the balance. But what if he keeps taking things? She pressed. What if the tasks never stop? David frowned, clearly not understanding her concern. Hannah, that's life. We contribute. It's not some punishment. It's just the way things work here. She clenched her jaw. You don't think it's strange that the system tracks every single thing we take? That it decides what we owe, what we have to do to pay it back? David rubbed his temples. It's not like we're in chains, Hannah. Verisphere gave us a life. We don't work jobs we hate. We don't worry about money. We're free here. Hannah felt a cold frustration settle in her chest. We're only free as long as we follow the rules, she said quietly. David's expression hardened slightly. And what's so wrong with that? For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then David sighed, shaking his head. Look, you're stressed? Maybe go for a walk or something. I'll check in on Nate. Hannah didn't argue, because there was no point. She wasn't just frustrated, she was afraid. And David? He didn't even see the cage. While they talked, neither noticed Nate as he sat on his bed, his MarketLink app still glowing softly beside him. His first task, done. His new task, already in queue. But right now, his attention was on the package sitting on his lap, the one he picked up from Shop 112A, the one that started all of this. He hesitated, fingers pressing against the seal. Then, carefully, he peeled it open. Inside, nestled neatly in the packaging, was a sleek, unmarked earpiece and a tiny recording device. His MarketLink app chimed immediately. Task updated. Wear the device for the next 24 hours. Nate frowned. Wear it? Why? No explanation. No further instructions. Just a command. He turned the small device over in his palm. It was smooth, featureless. Not cheap. He swallowed, staring at it for a long moment. Then slowly he reached for the earpiece and slid it into place.